the way to become successful. But school districts are having problems because of state cutbacks in aid to schools.
Well, maybe.
What are the answers that you're giving superintendents and school districts? Westerville's meeting tonight to talk about all of their cuts.
Carol, we offered them some tools. They didn't like them, so they need to come with other tools because, you know, it's shared services. It's really thinking about new ways to do things. I met with the county commissioners last week and the county engineers. Get the Lean and the Six Sigma in your operations. One of the concerns that I have about schools in Ohio is that we have lots of money being spent on infrastructure and not enough of those dollars end up in the classroom. You know, I understand here in Columbus, somebody pointed out to me the other day that they invested $70 million. I was told this by a knowledgeable source, $70 million into 2 buildings that are about half full. Now, if you're going to put infrastructure ahead of dollars in the classroom, you're not going to get the kind of results and you're not going to control your costs. But, Carol, we've offered them some tools. We've offered, and they've accepted some of those tools, like the shared services. You know, the Village of Green, for example, has their school board, their school operations housed in the same building as the city. So these are difficult times, and Carol, believe me, I mean, I live in the Westerville schools. It's a challenging time. But if we raise taxes and we drive companies out, our problems are going to be exaggerated. Not exaggerated, but whatever the word is. They're going to be made more acute and more chronic, okay? So if these schools have a way in which we can help them, we'd be glad to do that. Let me also tell you that the basic school funding formula went up, okay? And you know, the other thing is these schools were being run with one-time money. And I warned during the campaign, many of you remember, I said during the campaign, do not run your operations with one-time money. Prepare for the future. They're probably hoping that, you know, the future would be tax increases. Maybe. I don't know. But we can't do that, Carol. Look, we're starting to win now. What was that number? 83,000 jobs saved and retained. When we get more jobs, we get more revenue, the schools are healthier, the community projects are healthier, everything is healthier. So that's what the focus has to be. But in the meantime, if they've got some good ideas where we can be helpful to free them from rules or regulations and help them to work with other entities of government to save money, we will do it. Plain and simple.
Governor, do you expect to try to lower taxes more next year? You spoke about, you know, getting the income tax down. You said it's still too high.
Well, the problem is, Bill, look, you take somebody who built a business and they go to sell some of their business and they pay capital gains. If they live in Florida, they pay 15%. If they live in Florida, they pay 21%. Now, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that people would rather give the government 15% rather than 21%. You know, it's just under 21% because our income tax treats all income as regular income. You know how I feel about the income tax. Slowly but surely bring it down. As we get more revenue, as we have more opportunity to generate more jobs, and if we start running these surpluses like I hope we would, tough times with the wind in our face from Washington, then I think the people should get some of their money back. Okay? But let's just now take a breath. Celebrate what we've done, think about the future, but I'm not prepared to make any decisions about that at this point. We have $250 million, maybe $350 million in the rainy day fund. We've seen significant improvement in our Medicaid payments because we enacted the MIT system. Now, we don't know where that's going to take us to the end of the year. That could change, but preliminarily, that looks pretty good. So I think anything we can do to make ourselves more competitive against other states where we can win these jobs would be great. One final thing I would say, none of the CEOs I talk to say, how can I raise your costs? Or how can you raise my costs? What CEOs say to me is, what can you give us to lower our costs? So as we can lower the cost of doing business in Ohio, it sends a signal to people, why don't we go locate in Ohio? That's what we want to achieve, and I think we're beginning to achieve. Long way to go, though. Let me be clear. Long way to go. Because we were really in a hole. We're getting out of it, though.